I've been coming at weeknight dinners from a slightly different angle, looking at ingredients that you can keep in your fridge or in your pantry that are cheat codes to flavor for quick weeknight recipes. And one of my favorites is Nduja, a spicy, spreadable pork salame from Calabria. And what I love about Nduja is because of its high fat content and its spreadability, it melds really well into recipes. So you can emulsify it into sauces or stir it into a pot of beans. It works well with meat dishes, it works well with vegetable dishes, it works well even with seafood. It also lasts for a really long time. Because it's a cured, fermented salume, it can hang out in your fridge for months. So what exactly is in Nduja? Well, first and foremost, pork. So you've got trimmings of lean cuts of pork along with fatty pork belly and fat back, which then gets mixed all together with a ton of Calabrian chilies, which have a really nice kick of floral heat. And then a lactic starter is mixed in with that. And it all gets stuffed into a casing, and it gets lightly smoked and then hung to ferment. And once it's ready, you get this beautiful red, spicy, spreadable Calabrian pork gochujang stuff that I just can't get enough of. And do you know what's in Nduja? And do you know where Nduja gets its name from?
I don't know.
Andouille, French andouille, yes. The Argent had colonized Calabria at one point. Along with the Spanish, and Nduja is actually very similar to a Spanish salume called sobrasada, which is also spicy, spreadable pork, and they're very similar. They're all, see? You're putting it all together. The yarn wall of pork products is coming together. What we're gonna make today is one of my go-to weeknight meals. I make it probably 2 or 3 times a month. It's just a simple pasta with a spicy Nduja-Tomato sauce. Really delicious, comes together in 20 minutes flat. Couldn't be easier. Along with the Nduja being the cheat code to flavor, I'm also using a bunch of stuff that I keep around my house for weeknight dinners. Shallots, having tons of onions around, I always end up with quarter onions, half onions hanging out in my fridge going bad. For a lot of things, I just pick up a bunch of shallots and I can just use 1 or 2 at a time when I need them. The second most important thing, passata. This is Italian tomato sauce builder that everyone stocks in their pantry. And what it is simply tomatoes that are quickly cooked for just a little bit of time and then passed through a food mill. So if you've ever jarred up tomatoes at the end of the summer, this is what you end up with, passata. Starting with a little bit of olive oil to sweat the shallots. Just add a little bit of salt, which helps soften the shallots, draws out moisture. So for the shallots, we're looking to get them softened without color. We're not trying to brown them. So a whole bottle of passata goes in. So normally if you're making a sauce that has a meat product, like you're making a matriciano with pancetta or guanciale, you would have the guanciale rendering before you added in any tomato. With Nduja, I like to add it later on, and the reason being that you kind of lose that fermented funk if you cook it down first. You really want that in the sauce, and so I add the Nduja in towards the end, and it melds in and emulsifies with the tomato really nicely, and you get still some of that funk of the fermentation along with the heat from the chilies and the nice fattiness from the pork. And then I like to do the Chris Rock Robitussin trick of just look it up, I'm used to it. Shake it, add a little water, shake it up, more passata. And just add it in. For the pasta, I am using ziti. Most of us are familiar from baked ziti. Ziti are actually a really long pasta that then gets cut down. So some brands you'll see them called ziti tagliati, which means cut ziti. But if you can't find ziti or you don't like ziti, you can use whatever, a small tubular pasta or a twisted one. You want something that has some chew on it. Rigatoni would be good, casarecce. Really what you have on hand will work. So the pasta water. So for this one, I'm setting it for 5 minutes. The bag suggests a 9-minute cooking time. I always go way under on whatever the bag recommends because I find that no matter what, they always recommend overcooking pasta. So generally, 3 to 4 minutes under the suggested cooking time is when you should start tasting for al dente or however you like your pasta cooked. And the most important time to stir, if you've properly salted your pasta water, is at the very beginning. That's when pasta can stick really easily. So stir at the very beginning, becomes less crucial later on. So pasta is close. Sauce is nice and cooked down. You can see with the passata, it takes on good thickness really quickly. Nduja goes in. And you'll see really quickly, it'll melt into the sauce. 30 seconds or so, the nduja has melded in with the sauce. Pasta, let's taste it, should be right about there. Yep. Add some pasta water, and we finish everything together. With tomato sauces, you always want to finish it in the pan. The sauce stains the pasta lends starchiness to the sauce so that it clings better to the noodles. This beautiful give and take relationship. Whoa. Kill the heat, and then finishing it with a little bit of pecorino romano. And we are ready to plate. Really delicious, spicy, salty, porky without being too in your face. I can't think of an easier weeknight meal that's as satisfying. I make this, like I said, probably twice a month, always hits the spot.